Welcome to the Shellonomics Podcast, your source for pure Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles entertainment, presented by King Mictus.
All right, guys, another episode of Shellonomics. We are talking vintage Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cartoons, the 1987 series Season 2, with the return of Shredder and Krang and Shredder trying to get the Technodrome back to Earth. We are joined by TMNT Der Talk, our German podcast host, Christian. How you doing today?
Hey, come on, the dudes. Everything's fine over here. Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, awesome. Great to hear you as well. If you guys stick around till the end, we're going to talk also a little bonus about the 1990 movie that had the German release and all the cool exclusives that Christian's going to share with us. And then also, if you guys stick around, you'll be able to find out where you can find Christian's podcast. It's an amazing one. How many total episodes do you have? I lost count because you have so many awesome ones on Spotify. How many do you have so far?
Dude, I'm having, it's a big bilingual podcast, so I have German episodes and English episodes every other week. In German, I'm nearing 500 episodes, and in English episodes, I have 210 actually right now. So, yeah, there's a lot to listen to.
Yeah, seriously, keep you busy on those long road trips. Oh, man, love to hear it, So, you were saying earlier before we went live that in Germany, Season 2 was actually Season 1 for the Turtles, which is also why I wanted to have you on it. Can you tell us about that? Is this your first iteration with the Turtles?
Yeah, totally. I grew up with the classic cartoon. It was my first, the start of this love. And yeah, as you said, the second season was the first season that aired on German TV. So Return of the Shredder is the first episode that we ever saw. And it's quite confusing. I think the problem was with the first season that there were a lot of usage of the word ninja and nunchucks, and as you may know, they were the hero turtles over here, so they had to cut a lot, so they probably thought, okay, let's start with the second season. There's not that much usage of the nunchakus and things like this. I don't know, but it's pretty confusing.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, wait, how is Shredder getting back? Who is this guy? Who are the Turtles? Yeah, you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So we start out with Shredder coming back. I like this season a lot. It's only 13 episodes. What they do is, it's a nice continuous story, too, as they're trying to get the Technodrome back. But Krang sends Shredder on his own. He doesn't have Bebop and Rocksteady or the Foot Clan to help him. And in that first episode, what were your thoughts on the Crooked Ninja Turtle gang? I thought they were kind of cool.
Yeah, they were fun. And the leader of them was called Smash, and he was the owner of the Slash for Cash dojo. And yeah, I always thought they were pretty cool, and that they didn't get used more. It's weird. They could have stayed around for a while.
Yeah, I thought so too. At least we got a NECA figure from them finally, which was nice. Again, these are toys that, thank goodness for NECA. They are giving us toys that we never had as kids and always wanted. So.
Yeah, in the current Saturday Morning Adventures by IDW Comics, they had a cameo appearance here and there. So, yeah, they are not forgotten.
Yes, exactly, which shows how cool of a character they were. And then we go into a little mini-series here. Now, I like this because I think there were some cassette tapes regarding this, like The Incredible Shrinking Turtles. I think there was a storybook adventure with this, and this is one of the few, I think this is maybe the only, besides Season 1, I know in Season 10 there's like a mini continuation of when Lord Drag brings back Shredder and Krang in the Red Sky series, but this Incredible Shrinking Turtles with the Eye of Sarnath and the crystals, this is one of the few continuation episodes. So what were your thoughts on these episodes with the Shrinking Turtles and the robots taking over and the Eye of Sarnath?
Yeah, the whole Eye of Sarnath story was pretty cool. As you said, this was a 4-part storyline, which was quite unusual for the classic cartoon. They only did it like 2 more times, if I think about it, as you said, in Season 10, and at the end of Season 3, it's more or less with the big break-in, big rip-off, big blowout, you can say, but not like this, not a continuing story. This is very unusual, but I love these episodes. Honestly, I watched them over and over and over as a kid, and it's like a little mini, like a special, like a TV special, like a mini movie, if you want to say it like this.
Yes, because it wasn't taped too. You are correct, Christian. There was a 90-minute tape that we actually could own as kids before we had all the DVDs and the series releases. There was a long, about 90-minute tape. And what I like too is again, I guess just for us kids, it's we weren't really watered down in our childhood. I mean, the Turtles failed, and they told Splinter, "We failed you, Master." And what does he say? It's all part of the learning process. So again, I just liked how the Turtles were more. They didn't have to be Mr. Perfect, you know?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, this is that. The episode "Tale from Beneath the Sewers." I always liked the mutated plant. I thought always that was cool. And in the end, when Mikey was dressing up like a flower, it's like a little bit of cross-dressing. I don't know. I thought it was pretty funny. I always laughed this episode. And yeah.
I agree. And our friend Andrew Farago, who's the author of the visual history, that was actually his favorite Master Splinter quote, was in that episode you just brought up, Christian. Get to the root of the problem with that plan.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy those episodes. Then we also had, I may go out of order here, but what did you think of the Splinter becoming human? I thought they only had their only chance in season 1, but Donatello whipped something up, and we got to see Master Yoshi instead of Master Splinter for a little bit.
Yeah, that was also quite unusual that, if I think about it, never happened again in the series. It was like, yeah, I have some mutagen leftovers, let's create a retro mutagen, anti-mutagen, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, then we got Hamato Yoshi back for a while, which was pretty cool. And I always thought that when he returned back slowly into a rat, it was kind of creepy. He was kind of creepy looking, like this mix between human and rat. And yeah, and we also had a little fight between the turtles in this episode when Shredder was attacking the turtles with the Mind Scrambler, what it was called. Yeah, and they got all angry and attacked each other.
I love that. Yeah, and again, now that was okay to see that nunchuck spot in your neck of the woods, right? It was okay when Michelangelo used his nunchuck real quick. Did that part still air out in your town?
Actually, yes. This little scene they kept in, even though others were cut out. But
wow!
I remember that I saw the nunchakus there.
It's almost like when you hear a PG movie and they let out a curse word, and it's like, it's just one. It's okay. It's so fast, no kid will notice it. So that's how they did that one there. And then you also had, I agree, Splinter was kind of scary, and also the one that gave me not nightmares but freaked me out was the Catwoman from Channel 6. I thought that was a creepy looking April too, with that with the cat mutation there.
Yeah, also a pretty funny episode. I mean, Catwoman April even got an action figure, like a mutations figure from Playmates toys back then, which I have, which is pretty cool action figure. And yeah, but overall, I thought it was really cool episode when April started to turn into a cat and started meowing and stuff like this. And yeah, it was pretty cool. And like one thing I remember is the scene when the turtles went to this Asian restaurant to find out where Shredder is hiding out, and they had this little fight with the sumo wrestler and the karate guys, like all these cliche Asian guys.
With lots of onions. The guy who ate the cheeseburgers with the nasty onion crust for April. And then they had the cabbage. Raphael throws that was one. Yeah, right. I mean, I know we'll backtrack a little bit, but yeah, this is where the turtles. It started watering down their violence from season 1, which was very gritty and violent. Started getting to be a little more comical. Like we'll go back to Enter the Shredder. They chopped eggs over one of them at the grocery store, and in this episode, Raphael throws cabbage with his size. It was a lot more. They weren't using their weapons like they did in season 1 at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see. How'd you like RoboCop? That was another one of my favorite episodes. That was on one of the VHS tapes I grew up with. Rex 1.
Yeah, New York's shiniest. It was also a funny episode with one big goof in this episode. As you might remember, when the turtles were driving the turtle van and they plummeted down into the water with it when they were attacked by the evil Rex clones. But a few minutes later, April and Splinter are driving around with the turtle van in the city perfectly fine. So, yeah, they had a spare one around, I don't know. And, yeah, but overall, a pretty cool episode. And Rex 1 later even appeared in a later episode in season 5, I think.
Yeah, I believe it was Leonardo. I don't know if it was the Leonardo Renaissance turtle. It was one of those. Oh, yeah, and they had an evil...
Yeah, I think you're right.
So one, okay, yeah. I like that one because there were just so many slapstick spots in the episode. It's like where one of the good quotes in there that me and my buddy Tim quote with open the door, and they're like, no. He's like, very well, I will make a new one. And he just shoots the door and he goes apart. And then they bring up Dorothy from the Wizard of Oz, and then the Three Stooges. Hey Mo, woo, 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 because they put the VHS tapes inside Rex one to bring him back to life.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing. I mean, when Splinter was trying to attract the evil clones, he used fireworks that looked like the turtles. Hey, I want these fireworks. These are cool.
Yeah, exactly. They couldn't catch him on a merry-go-round. One of them tries to jump at him. I mean, some of these spots are still pretty comical when you watch today.
Yeah, totally.
Oh gosh, how about what were your take on the Punk Frogs? The first time we get the Punk Frogs are in season 2 here.
Oh yeah, Invasion of the Punk Frogs. That was also a fun one. I always liked the subplot here with the anti-mutant organization with Captain Hoffman there, who were trying to hunt the turtles, who they thought were the Punk Frogs or vice versa. I always thought that this was cool, and it was not really visited again. So I think there was potential there. It was like an anti-turtle organization, like a precursor to the EPF later from Agent Bishop.
Yeah, similar to in a later episode in season 7, there was another character. Like maybe you can remember his name. It was the episode where Toka and Reza were in the cartoon. He was a gentleman working there.
Dirk Savage.
Dirk Savage. Yeah, he was voiced by Jim Cummings. Yeah, that's right. That was another kind of like the same character. Those are again 2 characters that you wish you would have seen again. You're right. Both of those could add some nice story plots.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the Punk Frogs were pretty cool. Especially with Shredder naming them. You know, he named them after all the evil people in the world. Rasputin, Napoleon, Genghis, Attila.
Yeah. No, I always thought the Punk Frogs were cool. I always liked it when they were on the show. They were entertaining. They were funny. They were totally fine. I always thought it was unusual to only get like 2 action figures from the Punk Frogs back then by Playmates Toys. That we only get Napoleon and Genghis, but no Rasputin or Attila. Yes. I always thought that it was weird.
And we had a very deranged Napoleon. Looked nothing like the Napoleon we see. I don't know if they... And then we had that weird episode later where he was like, my name Napoleon, he's mad. He turned in like a huge frog in it one. Maybe that's what they were trying to go for in the toy figure. No, I thought these guys were cool. I was shocked they hated pizza, though. Even Michelangelo was like, what? When the Punk Frog said, we hate pizza. I couldn't believe that one.
Yeah, that was a twist. But as Mikey said, some mutants are just weird.
Yes.
Who doesn't like pizza? I don't know.
Exactly. David Wise, I think, took over most of these episodes. We also got the Return of the Neutrinos, another good episode I thought was pretty cool. They had some... they dealt with another cool gang. I think they were called Cyberpunks. Is that right, in this episode?
Yeah, the Cyberpunks. Another gang that was never mentioned again. They were just around for this one episode. It was actually pretty weird where the turtles were hanging out there in this part of the city, which looked like something from a post-apocalyptic movie. And the Cyberpunks were hanging out there. It was kind of weird, like Mad Max style. Yeah. But yeah, overall, also the Neutrinos, I know some people don't like them, but I always thought they were pretty cool. I mean, what IDW did with them is pretty fantastic, but I also liked them back then in the classic cartoon.
Oh, gosh, yeah, tell me. I'm glad they make an appearance in almost at least, I think it was at least in the first 3 seasons. No, they were in season 4 too with the baby Neutrino, but yeah, I always liked them as well. I thought they were just cool additions, and they did a real good job, like you said, bringing them back in the IDW series for a while. I have no problem with any of them. And then, so a couple other fun facts here is we get the Knucklehead toy in the final Baxter episode before he becomes a Fly. So what are your takes on Baxter becoming a Fly? Did you like him as a Fly? Did you prefer him more as a scientist? Curious on your opinion.
You know, I liked them both. I mean, they were pretty different. I mean, especially Fly Baxter. After a while, he got more and more weird and more. I gotta say, stupid.
Yes, he did lose his eye. Yes, no, you are correct. He did. Yeah, he was dumb. He was turning into Bebop and Rocksteady, like the mutation that they had.
Yeah, so the transformation to a fly didn't do him any good. But as a scientist, as a human, he was pretty smart. He was like creating the mousers and stuff like this. But when he turned into a fly, at first I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, at the end of this episode, Enter the Fly, he was like zapped, and it was actually, I mean, the whole thing when he was transformed was actually looked pretty gruesome. I mean, Krang wanted really to kill him. Yeah. And disintegrate him. And at the end, he was disintegrated. I mean, he came back, but at first we thought, okay, he's done. Yeah. But yeah.
And I also thought
I liked his design. It was pretty cool looking as a fly, I gotta say.
Yeah, and a very cool extra. And I actually thought April was dead in this episode too, to be honest with you. I thought she was gone because they couldn't get the antidote, remember? Until like the end of the episode. Yeah. I thought she was a goner.
Oh yeah, that was the whole plot with the plant, with the flower that almost killed April. Yeah. It was pretty intense.
Yeah, I thought she was gonna have an early exit in the show. And then we bring this in for a landing for season 2 talk. What were your thoughts on the final episode? It was nice, I thought, to see everybody finally coming back. The animation for Krang, I can't be the only one to notice, like, what happened to Krang in this? He got, like, really, like, a different color kind of blob. I don't know if they ran out of colors on their sheets or what, but you noticed that too, right? In this last episode, Krang, with a different color?
Yeah, I know what you mean, but didn't we forget the episode, The Case of the Killer Pizzas?
Oh, yes, oh my gosh, yeah, that's one of the legendary, that's one of the legendary episodes there. I mean, I'm glad they were at least brought into the Game Boy game in Turtles in Time. They were a boss in the arcade, and they were in just like a sub-boss kind of in the video game, but oh my god, yeah, this episode, how can you forget this one? That's before Baxter turns into the Fly. They have some weird battles, but... Did it ever make you question it, to put a pizza in the microwave or in the oven again? Did you ever think your pepperoni and sausages as a kid were just going to turn into little monsters?
Hey, it would have been pretty interesting. No, I never thought that. I mean, a little bat monster. Hey, why not? But I always thought it was funny that they looked exactly like the xenomorphs from the Alien movies. That was never a copyright problem or anything.
That's a good point.
But I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, the 90s and 80s were a different time, Christian. People got away with a lot of puns and parodies that nobody even cared about or nobody took offense to sometimes, and it was just so blatant. I know they do that in a lot of animes, too. There's one I was watching years ago. It was called... Great Teacher Onizuka, and instead of the Denny's they have in the States, they just called it Benny's. Same logo, just changed one letter. So you're right, a lot of people try to do these little, like we said, the RoboCop earlier, just parody after parody. Anything they could throw in a cartoon, they're like, adults don't watch this anyways, they won't get the jokes.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Oh, gosh.
So this was like the Turtles Meet Aliens episode.
Yeah.
Pretty enjoyable.
And how interesting, too, you're right. It's a good thing you brought this up. I mean, Shredder and Leonardo were on the same side. They actually had to work together for a while.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Like, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah.
Not for long. Yeah. I mean, just after they defeated the monsters, the Shredder and Baxter escaped to fight another day.
Yeah, exactly. What else? How did you like the tone of Leonardo's voice in this season compared to other ones? I always enjoyed this, Leo. It seemed like a little more serious and subtle tone compared to the higher pitch he gets in like seasons 4 and 5.
Yeah, you're right. Camp Clark did try a deeper voice back then. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, the first, I gotta say, the first 2 seasons or so were a little bit more serious, so it totally worked. I mean, later when it really went more and more into comedy, the higher pitched voice, I guess, totally worked for that. I mean, it's just the tone of the show.
Yeah, I agree, because it did get a lot more zanier and sillier. I guess, it's just the easiest way to describe it. As we go, I think seasons 1 and 2 have aged very well. Again, I really enjoyed all these, episodes. That Splinter's a human, April's a cat, Punk Frogs come out, Baxter's a fly. So many great characters. It boosted up the toy line where you wanted all these action figures again too. And then so we do finally get the Technodrome finally coming back to Earth. I thought it was okay with the fighting sequences too. I mean, again, this is where the violence really got watered down. I mean, you get to see Splinter knock out Rocksteady with like some potion when he comes back from his pilgrimage. Any other things you like here you want to point out with the fight scenes?
Yeah, I mean, I thought that these fights were pretty cool. Overall, the whole episode Return of the Technodrome really felt big. It really felt like a season finale. And it was really cool. The action was there. There was the stakes were pretty high. The turtles almost got defeated. As you remember, they were surrounded by like hundreds of foot and rock soldiers.
Yes.
And they almost were defeated in the end. And then, yeah, I mean, we also got a pretty cool callback to Star Wars when Shredder and Splinter were fighting on the bridge, like Obi-Wan and Darth Vader.
Oh, great call. I never thought of that. That's why I like always talking to other hardcore Turtle fans like yourself who are very knowledgeable. This is the first time I've actually noticed that comparison, so that's a great spot there. Real good call, Christian.
Yeah, even in the, I gotta say, even in the German dub, I don't know if it was, I can't remember right now if it was in the English one too, but I remember when Shredder said, I sent Splinter, I gotta fight him.
Yes, they do.
In the German dub, I think Rocksteady or Bebop said, yeah, may the force be with you. And then Shredder left.
Oh, really? He does say it in the German. Wow. Wow. I hope you can check that out and let me know if you can find I don't know if you can find that episode somewhere, just at least send me that clip. I'd like to see that spot with the subtitle, because all I remember is, why'd you stop, boss? Because he sensed them, and then they duked it out. Yeah, I really enjoyed the fight sequences here. Now, like I said, Krang with the weird pink was, it is what it is. I don't know why they were doing that, but maybe they just ran out of that color in the animation cells.
Yeah.
What else?
I mean, Donatello's bandana also looked kind of weird, kind of more pinkish in this episode.
Exactly. Yeah, dude, those two little things. I think April distracts one of them with like a picture. The other one that always stood out for me was Raphael's sarcasm with Donatello, where stand back, this thing packs a punch, and he throws a little throwing star, and Raphael goes, you call that a punch?
Yeah, but then it explodes like Donnie. It worked. So it just took some time.
Yep, and then Splinter, and then like, hey, we forgot about Splinter, and he has to miraculously jump. I still have chills when you see him just like make this crazy jump out of the Technodrome before he gets buried.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool flip there. Yeah.
I would say for those Turtle fans who have never seen this show, who are more into the newer movies and the Michael Bay stories, would you recommend, it doesn't have to be the whole serial, but would you recommend season 2 to them who have never seen it before?
Honestly, yeah. As I said, the first 2 seasons, they are kind of more serious. There is some action in there, but it's still funny. And as I said, like later seasons, as much as I love the show, I love all of it, but later seasons, they are more comedy. So if you're more into the modern stuff, like the 2012 series, you might also enjoy the first 2 seasons. They have a good mix of action and comedy.
Yep, nope, I agree. That's pretty much if I wanted to point somebody in the direction of getting into these shows, season 1 we already know is immaculate. That's on its own level. But season 2 I think does hold up as well. If season 2 was the only Turtles we had, I think that would have been okay. You still get, like you said, the battle fight scenes were great, good continuous stories. The jokes when they were put in there were fine. What's the other joke with the incredible shrinking turtles? April's trying to buy something for $3. $3 wouldn't buy diddly nowadays. The little kids, she's trying to buy a thing from them. So, yeah, there were some good, funny plots in those episodes, I thought, for sure. So that'll bring an end to season 2, and we'll get to season 3 in another episode here on Shellonomics on YouTube and Spotify. But let's get into our bonuses. One of the reasons why we have Christian here is, so do you actually own the German release of the 1990 TMNT movie?
Oh, dude, I have the 1990 movie. I have like on VHS, on DVD, on Blu-ray. I have it all. So, yeah.
Let's talk about this because there's a special Blu-ray out there, or special DVD out by you guys that has stuff us Americans unfortunately never got. There's deleted scenes, and you guys get the Steve Barron director's commentaries. What was that like if you did get to check that out?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Just like in the TV show, the movies, they were also cut, they were also censored, like Michelangelo using his nunchucks and stuff like this, which was pretty confusing in the end, because as you remember, in the end, when Shredder was attacking Splinter on the rooftop, and Splinter is using Michelangelo's nunchuck to throw him over the edge. We never saw that in the German version. We only saw like Shredder running at Splinter, Splinter stepping to the side, and then Shredder is falling. We never saw the whole thing when Splinter was holding him there over the edge.
Wow.
So that was so confusing. But in the re-release that we got, they put in these scenes, but there was no German dub, it only was subtitled, but they put in these scenes back in the, and so we finally have the whole movie. But still, I don't know if you know this, but in the German version, they not only cut out stuff with the nunchakos or things that were too violent, in quotation marks. Yeah. They also used, during the fight scenes, they used cartoon noises to soften the action.
Wow.
Like, yeah, they were fighting and it was like ding dong, dong, like stuff like this. And I never knew as a kid, I was like, yeah, this is fun. But I never knew that this was only the German version. When I finally, after years, I finally saw the original US release. I was, so these don't exist there. This is not the usual. Yeah. But yeah, the whole thing, I always thought it was fantastic that the German release got a director's commentary and the US release didn't get this. I always thought that this was pretty unusual. I mean, as I remember, in the beginning, Steve Barron even greets like the German viewers, especially like, hey, greetings to Germany, if I remember correctly, or something like this. So yeah, that was pretty fantastic. We also got director's commentary for the other two movies by Michael Pressman and Stuart Gillard for movie 2 and 3. So we have this.
Yeah, you guys are spoiled out there. And I saw it on YouTube. What was your take? Because with the cartoon noises, I also brought this up to Ken Scott, who was the real actor of Raphael. And he was always like, he wanted to see these scenes, and he was blown away too, as there's a spot where, like you said, they don't have the nunchucks from Michelangelo, but April gets involved in your guys' movie. Do you remember that spot where she pulls the carpet?
Yeah, there's also a scene, like that was in the fight in the second time around shop, when it was burned down, attacked by the Foot Clan. Yeah. And yeah, there was the scene where they were fighting, and April was pulling the rug, and the foot soldiers were falling over. Also, I for a long time I didn't know that this was like a cut scene from the US release. I didn't know this because this scene was always in the German version.
Oh, really? It was never a deleted scene. Wow. Okay. Interesting. Because I thought that would have been great for April. I thought that was a good job by Steve Bear. Hey, let's get April involved here. I mean, she wanted some revenge anyway. She took out Raphael's Sai and things didn't go her way, so she swung her purse, got decked, and that was her way to get a little bit of revenge there. I thought that would have been great to keep in the movie.
Yeah, but one thing with April that we didn't get in the German release was in the end when the Foot Clan was attacking in the sewers, and Mikey was like positioning the Foot Ninja to April, who was up there with a staff and knocking down the foot soldier. That scene we did see in the German release, I guess because of the nunchakos.
Oh, the You're an Actual Sis, where she says thanks, where he says a little to the left, a little to the right. Oh, wow. This is really cool, just getting here. Again, just different versions of watching this movie, this classic. I still can't believe, we're both of us are only in our 20s, folks. This movie's 35 years old, but me and Christian, we're still in our 20s.
Yeah, but not really. I'm in my 40s.
Yeah, pretty much here too, dude. Oh, man. Well, thank you for sharing the German version. Let's talk about your podcast. So how did you, what was your calling and inspiration to say, you know what, I love turtles, I want to start my own podcast, and how did you come up with the name?
I was a TMNT fan all my life, and I started as a kid when I was watching the classic cartoon, and that laugh never left me. And that was like in the 2010s when podcast started. And I was listening to a lot of podcasts back then, like what was back then, Turtle Flakes or Turtle Soup, Turtle Power podcast, stuff like that. And I was enjoying that so much that the people are out there, Turtle fans are out there talking about, the stuff that I love, TMNT. And so I thought, I want this too. I want to do this too. And so I guess in 2015, 10 years ago, I just took a microphone and started talking about turtles, and I didn't stop because I'm having a blast with it. Yeah. I mean, because it's also, as I said, it's mostly a German podcast because there was no German TMNT podcast back then. I thought, hey, I can do this, create a German podcast because all the others, they were English. So I want to do my own thing. And I just did this.
Well, there you go. So you can say you're the best German podcast also because you're the only German podcast. You got no contenders. So there you go. Oh, man, 500 episodes. So what does your podcast entail for those who are listening to you for the first time? Why would people from Shellonomics want to check out your channel? I know I've seen some reviews on the comics. You've had, I believe, Sarah Meyer on there. Tell us a little more about like what your show contains.
Yeah, I mean, if you're now thinking, German podcast, I cannot listen to this. Yes, you can, because every other week I also release an English episode where I mostly talk about current stuff, which is currently mostly the IDW TMNT comics. And if you're into this, hey, this could be for you. I talk about all the releases that IDW is currently running, the TMNT, Saturday Morning Adventures, Last Ronin, everything that they're releasing. I want to talk about it. And that's mostly what I'm doing currently with the English version of the podcast. So, hey, go check it out.
Yes, well, I am very thankful you have an English podcast. It was great talking to you today, Christian. Where can they find you? I mean, we have your thumbnail up here on our video version of this, but can you tell the people where they can get in touch with you? Check out your podcast?
Yeah, you can probably find the podcast on every bigger podcast platform like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on all the social medias. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, pretty much everywhere. But I guess you should check out the website. Currently, the website is tmnttalk.blogspot.com. You have all the links there. Come on over, check it out. Let's talk turtles.
Oh, man, I appreciate it. And so, actually, I want to ask you this, because usually I ask people this question who are guests in there, and sometimes they don't have one, because not that they're not passionate fans, but just they're only a certain aspect of turtles, and it seems you're like me, where you are like any kind of turtles, be it Next Mutation turtles, be it Michael Bay, you don't care. If it's turtles, you're set for it. So what is your favorite Master Splinter quote?
Oh, boy. That's a good one.
Yeah, I figured take your time. I usually like that one.
Let me think about this.
Sure. There's so many good ones.
I guess the first one that comes to my mind is actually from the first movie, when he's talking to Raphael, like, anger clouds the mind, turned inward. It's the biggest enemy. This whole scene with Raphael, it always gets me. It's such a great scene.
Yeah, it's like a father and son pretty much, where it's like, hey, you did wrong, come here, let's talk about it. And the kid's like, no, and it's like, no, you're going to sit down, hear me lecture you. I'm not telling you did anything wrong. I'm here to help you, which I like. You didn't punish him. Did he say you're grounded or any? He didn't say 10 flips now like he does in the second movie. He was like, hey, come here and have a chat. Don't worry about it. No, it's a very good emotional scene. And you get to see tears from Raphael, too, so I like that scene a lot.
Yeah, as I said, it always gets me.
Oh, man. Well, Christian, I really appreciate your time today on this Saturday. When's your next podcast actually coming out, too? I'll give you that final plug, too.
The next German episode comes out tomorrow on Sunday.
Okay.
The next English episode comes out the week, let me guess, not this Thursday, the next Thursday. As I said, it's always every other week.
Okay, perfect.
And yeah.
All right, Chris. Well, appreciate your time, Turtle Power, and congratulations on 10 years of podcasting, too. That's awesome, man.
Thank you, man.